has to do so, cutting off their opponents here. There's a lot of reaction coming here, though. You have Asia on one side of the wall, OCE on the other, fully boxed in now. They have to be careful. There's no way out. Drulix and Ticho might have signed themselves straight back to the lobby accidentally now. Oh no, having to heal here. Ticho gets caught out. One false mistake, and it will come back to haunt you here.
In armored walls. And now he's deep in storm.
Queasy, Thomas HD. They could tell Phaser for a moment. He got a glimpse, but he won't actually get a taste of what the high ground is like. Queasy now going to be the first to drop. He's continuing. He knows he needs a refresh. He wants more material. If he can find an elimination, if he can play the disturbance factor, he can prevent anyone from having the potential to threaten Thomas HD's current position. Thomas HD, in fact, alongside Queasy, just going to continue to try and secure as many eliminations as possible.
We are witnessing greatness right now as Thomas HD and Queasy are putting on a masterclass on the high ground here. Doing a very good job now securing eliminations, starting to rack up. Queasy will have to get those mats there. Has to jump to the tree. He sends Thomas HB down. The Soren to start cutting off the teams here. Completely new duo in the conversation as well. It's Zagu and King and Phaser now. That's all that's left in a clean 2v2 here.
But the zone pull, Thomas HD and Queasy, they made it to the top of the hill. Phaser is going to manage to find his way up. Thomas HD instantly
Let's go, Queasy and Thomas. Let's go.
And a victory royale finish.
We expect it, and now they're performing from the interview section all the way in to the first match here of the day. What a way to keep up the momentum. And of course, you know what we're gonna get next. A word here on the floor, given that we want to hear what's happening.
Would you please give it up your Game 7 winners, Queasy and Thomas HD? Woo! Boys! That is the way to do it. Game 7 on day 2 of Global Championships. Queasy, the high ground was king there again. What a way to start the competition today.
I mean, they
a lot of things like I don't like that they do. When they go on height,
a man of few words, but you know what? They mean a lot.
When they go on height and they ramp up,
Thomas, today as well, we see the likes of family in the audience, all these fans here as well.
Like they should have
make some noise for these players.
Wall for the stairs, like armored stairs.
I want to talk about how pivotal it was as well. You saw in the elimination feed, I think the 6th zone, we saw Peter Bot and Puyo go down. Did you know then you had to capitalize on that?
I mean, Christians said, like you saw it in the kill feed, so yeah. Like, we just played our game, we didn't think about it in the game, but it doesn't matter for us.
Now that you've seen the 1.5 multiplier making a massive difference today as well, looking at the points, you've really tightened things up at the top. Do you go at the same way again? I mean, obviously high ground being really important there. How did the mid-game change for you guys that time around?
I mean, we will see. I can't tell if we're going to play high or not, but if the opportunity is there, we're taking it.
And it seems as well, Queasy, that each time you guys get that high ground, you're the one sent down just to wipe the floor, get those eliminations. Thomas holds the high, and it's working really, really well.
I mean, yeah, what is there to say? Like, we just take high and we win. There's nothing else to do. Like, we just need to perfect our mid-game. And if we get into endgame with good match, that's it.
We're looking forward to seeing what happens next. Would you please, one more time forward, give it up for Queasy and Thomas HD! Woo! That is the way to start a day 2 of FNCS Global Championships 2024. Loads more to come. What's going to happen next? We'll find out after this very short break. We'll see you in a few.
Get high, don't die. Get high, don't die. Come on, man. It's too easy. It's too easy.
Fortnite fam, we got a tournament in our hands, baby!
Hey, Lev, take height.
Don't die.
Take height.
Don't die.
Ah, let's go! Game number 1 on the day, 7 overall. Wheezy, Thomas HD find the victory royale, and they repeat exactly what they said yesterday. Take height.
Don't die, Levin. Levin. Listen, Queasy and Thomas, I mean, the high ground, right? It was working yesterday. They were getting a little bit of pressure, in my opinion, from the likes of Vico and Flixie primarily. But Vico and Flixie go down very, very early on this game. Queasy and Thomas maybe noticed that, right? And was like, listen, we're not going to receive any pressure from them, because what we noticed, Levin, was that they invested all of their match, so much so that when it came down to this 2v2, they almost had nothing left.
I mean, you look at who have been the biggest players on height in the first 6 games. Vico, Flixie up there, Peterbot, Poyo up there. Both of those guys down and out of this end game. So much space for Queasy and Thomas to play with up on those layers. And it's just really great to see this from them, Vivid, man. This is what I've been wanting to see from them all year, right? We've always known Queasy to be this dominant high ground IGL. This year, he took a step back from that. When it matters the most, though, relying on what he knows best, playing the high ground.
I just cannot believe, and as well, when we kind of saw, I love the way that Queasy kind of commits to that high ground. We kind of look up and it's just cones as far as the eye can see. Most players would just kind of do a few floors, maybe 2 wide. He's just like, nope, this is mine, all of it.
To be fair, there's not many players looking up at it anyway.
Yeah.
But if you did, and you just saw 300 metal just committed to high ground, you're not even bothering to go up there.
Vivid, are you seeing this? Do quick math for me, Vivid. This lead is a lot smaller than yesterday.
23 points now separate Peterbot and Poyo and Queasy and Thomas. The question was, how is anybody going to catch up to them? That 1.5x coming into full effect. A bad game for Peterbot and Poyo. Shambles up on Rift Island, goes down early after trying to land and fight to get back into the game. Queasy and Thomas, they mentioned it in that little bit of an interview right there. They saw it happen in the feed. They played their game to it, and now we've got a tournament on our hands.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Uncharacteristic game from Peterbot and Poyo. They look like they were working with scraps at times, but Thomas and Queasy, not at all. Still exactly what we saw from them yesterday, where they're looking strong, in good positions to get surge. Thomas in particular, the Monarch pistol again, it is just relentless, the amount of damage this guy is putting in with that.
That's right, and guess what? We actually have a moment from that last game. Let's listen into that game-winning moment.
I'm not gonna be. We should remember their skins. We should remember their skins. Yeah. They're dashing. 30 on them. Okay, we know their skins though. Yeah, Catwoman. I got a kill. Disconnected them on the right. Yeah. They have dashes to the Catwoman on the right. Yeah, I see. Here, drop him, I'm going across. I'm armored wall, I'm armored here. Yeah, okay. Armor yourself as well. Yeah, I am. I did. We can get bring them. I don't have fizz, 60, 100 points, dead. Nice. He's coming up. Going up, yeah, I see. 100. 30. Crack. Dead. Behind you. 1 HP. Dead.
Yeah.
Take height, don't die.
Absolutely amazing stuff there. Just to see them be excited. Levin, I want to double back. You talk about that Monarch pistol in hand. We joked about it at the start of the day. What kind of damage are we actually putting in with this?
Let's take a look at the numbers. Who do you think is going to be leading with the Monarch pistol? Surprise, surprise. No surprise at all. Thomas HD by far and away, just crazy with it. Again, if you know anything about Thomas HD and metas of previous years, it would have been the sniper rifle where you would have probably seen him be the leader. He's replaced the Monarch in that sense and is doing the big damage with it, and it's a big part of their success this weekend.
Love that from you, Levin. Honestly, I saw a little bit of a shot right there that we were getting on the stage. It was Thomas and Queasy, right? If they actually turn around in their chairs, guess who's right across from them? Peterbot and Poyo. They were actually staring each other down up there, probably sharing some emotions right there. That's awesome. They're like, hey, listen, it's game on.
That's right. Let's talk about Peterbot and Poyo here for just a moment. Very uncharacteristic out of the duo, right? They obviously had Medallion, they had mythic items in hand, but we kind of go up to Rift Island, and they are just in shambles at one point. No materials, no shield.
Well, the big thing for me was that Peterbot and Pollo, they're kind of used to getting the Rift Island uncontested. Usually there was like one other team that was up there yesterday. Sometimes that was kind of just based on the side of it. But we actually saw 2 other teams up there that were interested in even capturing the Rift Island, right? And once we tuned in with them when they were actually up there on the Rift Island, I think they were only like, what, 60 damage above? And usually that's like 400.
That's literally what I was about to say, right? Where it's like, they shouldn't even have to rely on going to Rift Island to be getting their damage. Usually they are much higher. Before that, I think we're already seeing some changes in the way people are playing around that area of the map in the mid game, and they're clearly struggling with it. They're gonna have to figure things out, and fast.
That's right. 3rd place, Trulex and Chicho, just rising up the standings. They're holding that 3rd place. And to think here, Trulex had to do this as a solo player. He has to play heals, but in those moments with this multiplier, those placement points make a difference.
Absolutely. It's exactly what you expect Trulex and Chicho to do. To be honest with it, a bit unfortunate with how that game sort of panned out towards the end. They were doing a good job on some of those mid to low layers. They get cut off, right, on low ground, and usually if you get cut off on low ground, it's, it's possible to reclaim it. The problem was the team that cut them off used armored walls. They're pickaxing through armored walls to try to get out of the storm, and again they just lose too much time. It forces Trulex to use those medkits earlier than they probably would have wanted to, and that leads to the end of their game. A top 6 ain't bad, but that could have easily been another top 3 for them.
No, but it was super, super good for them, right? Because coming into the day, remember, they were one of those top 5 teams, and we saw actually multiple of our top 5 teams go down. Those being Vico and Flixie went down early. Again, obviously Peterbot and Pollo went down early, but another one was Acorn and Cole that also went down early. And I think me and Levin, we noticed something very, very fast that game. They were uncontested. They were contested for all 6 games yesterday. So that big switch up could be affecting things largely.
Those ripples making a difference here. Every little thing can change an outcome, but it is that time. Game number 8 is being ready for us. So casters, on over to you.
Yeah, it does seem like being uncontested now is starting to work against some of the favorites who are up at the top.
Yeah, and for the teams that are having to essentially switch up their strategies, one thing we were noticing, you pulled up something rather interesting from socials. Swizzy even gave a shout out. I will seriously do my best today. So match number 8, let's see if he's got it.
Game number 8 is here. And there is a lot that we have brewing now here inside the Storm and on the Battle Bus, of course, given that the gap has officially closed. And you saw in the interview just moments ago, Queasy mentioning that, hey, if there's enough space between me and 3rd, we're going to do everything it takes to secure number 1.
And that might be one of the worst things ever if you're Peterbot and Pollo. You almost have to try and block it out, but how much can you really ignore when you see the gap chopped so viciously after a singular match because of that 1.5 times point multiplier? But drawing that conversation back to that little note that Vivid had touched on, teams that were contesting each other, they might have gotten very accustomed to having consistent damage. I think Acorn and Cold specifically, they were so directly in control of Brutal Beachhead, Andelix and Sato. They tried their best, but they realized this is not gonna work out. We've got to completely revamp our strategy for day 2, and now it's up to Acorn and Cole to figure out a new game plan on the fly.
Talking about that, even Huddy and Kovacs now have seemingly demanded their respect from Stroll and Sky, who have given up the Rebels. Roost already moving out. Likely that they had a bad drop here, and these small micro changes will absolutely create domino effects. So what we're looking at, 7th place now, doesn't have as many teams there. We already know Vino and Clix had a little bit of a different situation unfolding at their drop. Peterbot and Pollo had a team move out, right? All of these teams now have to make adjustments.
But Venom moving in quickly towards that launch pad. It's evident with the forecast tower in sight. There's going to be a brawl stemming out of Sandy Steps, but also drawing in the attention of teams surrounding this southern section of the map.
Look at this.
Stored Reels definitely getting active.
Power Alex, Power Worthy continuing to perform very well on the drop. But that mid game, they can tighten things up, possibly leave the Reels faster. They'll be better off. Angle's looking good here. All shield bubbles expended, but look at the distance. There is, of course, more players coming in.
Love this snap fly adjustment out of Cooper and Kanata, though. They recognize, hey, we had issues with Surge. What better way than to try and third-party teams that won't be expecting it? Alex and Worthy, they're still trying to chase down Merstash. They find the second elimination. Malabuka and Merstash fall yet again to Oshi, but now Kanata, Cooper, they're not gonna let them relish in the moment for even a second. Kanata immediately breathing down the neck of Alex. He's trying to get a scramble out, but he hasn't had a chance to regenerate anything. He's just hoping that his teammate can try to provide some relief, but Kanata and Cooper, they finally find Alex, and that's gonna be the end of one half of the Oshi Power Boys.
And you can see Alex's only concern there was, let me buy time for my teammate to get out. We can still play this game. So Worthy looking to secure as much loot as possible and then rotate out. Meanwhile, seems like EU's Chap and Teeny here are going against NA Pars and Baka. So far, so good for Pars and Baka, who have a defensive hold inside the factory, but Teeny and Chap likely feeling like it's a little dangerous to step in now. They're gonna take what they can and move on out, it seems.
Teeny possibly reverting back to his old ways. There's Chap next to him. Seems like they want to look to try and apply some pressure to any teams that might be looking for some easy fishing strats over by the dock next to the ship it station. Yapko and Swizzy on the other hand, popping up at the raft. They're gonna manage to find threats in the process. And this triple contest situation just continues to heat up, but this is a very different Brutal Beachhead vision in comparison to what we've been used to seeing.
Yeah, we got Cow Gamer, Haman here now, up against Andilex and Sato. Nicely done for Haman, finding Sato with a big elimination here. Now Cow Gamer has to win his ones, going toe-to-toe for the shot there. Andilex extremely weak, but instead causing the backup, and beautifully done as Haman finishes the deal here for Middle East. And they're gonna find themselves a wonderful set of eliminations. Now the drop is theirs, no Acorn and Cold. So clearly a rotate must have happened and a lot sooner.
They're not the only ones countering some slight adjustments to loot path and rotation strategies early on. Vico, Flixie next to Bugha and Aviv, but at the same time, some damage was clearly applied. Whether that came from Bugha and Aviv, didn't necessarily get the chance to see, but Vico and Flixie are now inside of the cemetery, and there's a very high likelihood that they're just looking and waiting for the opportunity to make a play for the weapons bunker nearby.
Take a little quick highlight here as we walk away. Unfortunately, King and FaZe gonna be some of the duos caught out. An old risky play walking into a building and a team sitting in the attic. What can you do?
It's almost like how we saw Huddy and Kovacs sitting inside of a bush in match 7. Like a lot of these players, again, you don't really want to get messy. You don't want to cut any corners. You've got to make sure that you are checking every angle, proceeding with caution every step of the way. Otherwise, you might just find yourself off guard. Braids completely exposed. Huddy had the overhead view, but didn't manage to connect the shots.
Still like this angle here. Plenty of gas in the tank here for Huddy. He slides out. Visual and Braids put up a great fight so far. Huddy opening the distance here, still keeping tabs on the opponent, making sure the teammate doesn't find too much of an angle on him. And then you have in the bush, in the distance, in the base, Muzz and Epic Whale just listening ever so closely. Meanwhile, Peterbot and Pollo making up for match number 7 here in match 8. Trying to farm and fish for tags, right? This is their biggest problem in match number 7. Now that they're uncontested, basically didn't get to get those early fights, right? Things have gone a little bit differently for them. It's becoming a lot more difficult.
It's the same for Clix and Vena, though. They've seemingly been surrounded. We knew that there was going to be a lot of foot traffic coming through this area based off the forecast tower spawn, but with Peterbot and Pollo seemingly in full control of that. Clix, Veno, they're now gonna have to choose a new method to try and establish some surge tag damage. And again, with Storm closing in on their backs, they could take their time. They could still potentially loop back around, hit the vending machine that they're familiar with, if that's still standing.
Vino looking to see if he can find any tags anywhere. Meanwhile, Chicho and Trulex, they've been putting on a performance worth studying. You have to start to wonder now, what is it about their drop spot, their mid game, their early game that they've been able to do so well, that they've continued to make end game and then perform at the highest caliber, now being one of the few teams in the race here for the first place. But they still have to keep it up. They've still been contested, although the team that's there has given them a little bit of room to work with. Meanwhile, a team that has a lot less room, Swizzy and Yapko, right? You all know the Raft has been highly fought after. They had 3 Elins, so they're not making it easy for anyone, but hold up, Clix is in a battle.
It's Crisp on the other side of this box, but Clix, Veno definitely looking a lot more healthy than their counterpart, and sure enough, Veno is gonna close this one out. That's another elimination, 12 points already. Keep in mind, that point multiplier doesn't just come into effect for the placements, but eliminations also being worth 6 apiece. It's a great way to climb. But Veno, Clix, they've gotta be careful sneaking up when they least expect it from 2 separate sides. Aspect, Kazi, Damo resigns. This could go from bad to worse in a moment.
Yeah, Clix already hears the shots coming out here, so they're not slick by any means. He does have a couple of splashes here, so being able to get their HP up is not going to be too much of a problem. Meanwhile, Vino looking to alpha up some positioning over Kazi and Aspect here. Trying to see what this team wants to do. Vino clearly doesn't want to stick around for too much longer. It's a lot of risk involved here. He does have a couple of med kits. I like what he's doing, though. He's inching his way across here, saying if you really want to do this, we're going to do it box to box, mano a mano. And there's the loot that he was trying to secure. Now he has got max mats, and there isn't much more for him to worry about here. However, if they stick around too much longer, I mean, only trouble is waiting for them.
At the same time, they've got to be really careful on how they choose to disembark and rotate out of here, because with so many eyes on, there is a high likelihood they could get tagged up in the process. And it's very nice that Veno was able to secure those max mats, because Clix having to build the entire way as they maneuver out of that location next to Sandy Steps.
Take a look at the highlight here from Chap and Teeny. Strong EU duo, very consistent and for good reason. They take down FKS and Adapter there in a head-to-head engagement. Adapter still standing, actually, as we jump in live here, even after the save, but unfortunate now as they get fully finished. Trap goes down, the save's gonna come in. More shots from the distance here. It's Vico and Flixie hearing what's happening. Bobby and Larpex inside the base nearby as well. In come Muzz and Epic Whale. They hear the action. They're gonna need some surge. So it's a melting pot of regions and competition come together now.
It's just the way that we're seeing all of these teams essentially conglomerate on top of each other. We didn't get a whole lot of this in day one, but the adjustments that everyone is trying to adapt to last second here, causing so many hiccups for everyone else that teams are encountering across the way. Pollo and Peterbot even working their way through the storm. Got eyes on Yapko and Swizzy. They clearly want the fight, but way off in the distance, teams a little bit closer to that edge of zone, putting even more pressure still onto Peterbot and Pollo. They are not getting the same clean rotations that they had all day yesterday.
Now keep in mind, this is a team that has landed on each other, right, coming into the season. So Peterbot and Pollo now forcing a back out because tags are coming in from the distance is definitely not ideal by any means. However, if they found the tags that they need, they won't have the problem they had in match number 7, right? They were so far below the surge. This lobby's starting to cut down pretty quick, so We are just gonna have to see what happens when the zone closes here.
Problem though, Peterbot, he's the only one with the medkit. Pollo, he's got to hope that he can find some bandages, a medkit, any form of white heals along the way. But that moment doesn't seem like it's going to come. A lone couple of bananas, and Peterbot knows he's just gonna have to let his duo fall. He'll make the play for the revive after he expends this medkit, but they've still got so much ground to cover, and a team already choosing to close in. Sky, Scroll, they have the immediate collapse. Peterbot, can he get Pollo up?
They've been watching, they saw what happened, and then they saw the name that went down. Peterbot fully armors himself up. Every wall is covered here. They will have to literally break him out and then fight, and he is ready. Rifle in hand, shotgun in the backup kit, ready to go. He tries to go for the wall replace first. Very smart done. However, starting to run out of material. Peterbot is one of the best in the world, and for good reason. You just cannot stop him if he does not want it to be done. Look at how well he's putting up a fight in a 2v1 situation right now.
The fact that he's even delayed Sky and Scroll for this long is phenomenal, as is Peterbot continuing to split them apart. He will not let them challenge him 1 versus 1. Anything else is not going to go their way, but Peterbot, he's still managing to scramble. He's on the escape. He's got the reveal marks as well. He knows exactly how he needs to move. But again, Sky, Scroll, they realize we got to reconvene. We got to re-aggress. Peterbot from below. He's on his last little ticks of HP. And I don't think he's going to make it out.
Finds a bandage, has to hit it, but unfortunately will fall now. And that is back-to-back games of trouble on the horizon now for Peterbot and Pollo. And it is just starting to slip away now. If there was ever a moment for the competition to really find their confidence here in day number 2, it is now. What a critical moment that just unfolded in match number 8.
But again, we heard it even in that last interview that Adam just had with Queasy and Thomas HD. They choose to still play the game as if nothing's gone wrong. There's been no spoiler in effect for the first place team because they know their best performance is going to come from 0 distractions.
Crazy to think that if the OCE team didn't rotate in at that time, he would have gotten the bandage off and we would have still seen something potentially unfold. But the reality is now, top 5 is going to shake up.
Then at this point, Peterbot and Pollo, they might just have to hit the drawing board themselves because that's 2 for 2 on the start of today. That is just not gone anywhere near the direction that they would have hoped here in day 2. But on a separate note, Thomas HD, Queasy got a nice overview of the rest of the map from their current position, just trying to use some of the natural elevation to base up on. And here at Mount Olympus, a couple of teams nearby, but they've just got so much space boxed out and claimed.
Bryson Bolts with the Rift Island. Chicho and Trulix down low. Still sitting pretty in 3rd place right now, based up under the Rift Island. Not an ideal situation to be in here, given that teams won't rotate because they see the island, let alone get a better angle for Chicho and Trulix. Very unlikely, but they have a duo in sight. It'll be important for them to find a couple tags here. 340 above, they should be okay for the time being. However, that's the damage that we're looking for.
Another little bit of a shock, though, as far as our top 5 is concerned. Spinks and Dukes have also been eliminated. They jumped up a few placements after their match 7 performance. They were sitting inside of top 10, 9th, I believe, to start day 2. So the fact that